Hey everybody, how are you doing tonight? So good to see you. It's Friday night. Well, I would just say we made it through another week, right? Like maybe these Friday night lives are like just us going, whew, we made it through another week. Can you believe it? And what a week it has been. Like, I'm just going to say that I haven't been watching the news too much today, but I did see that, Lord Mountbatten, Windsor, got arrested. And I got to say, I love the British for so many things. I really do. One of the things I really love is their satire, their wit. But another thing I really love is their brutal photojournalist. And there's all these pictures of the various people who've been arrested through the car windshield. And I was a photographer for 22 years, and I spent a little bit of that time being a photojournalist. And the photojournalists on social media are like, man, those Brits, like they can nail that through the windshield, like, picture so well, right? So I just want to say hats off to the Brits for doing the thing, for doing all the things, right? For doing all the things. They actually arrested a royal, and I know he was removed from royalty, but if you watch Heather Cox Richardson, who's a historian who we should all be watching every day, she says this is a 400-year historic event. 400-year historic event. So I don't think the energy is playing. I kind of think this eclipse, like somebody made this comment, yeah, that eclipse was nothing. I didn't see anything happen. I'm like, oh, like let's not threaten the universe, shall we? Because let's just not do that. I think the Lord, whatever his name is, Mountbatten Windsor, I think he would disagree. I think he would say the eclipse basically kicked his butt, a person who was untouchable. And truly, the royals have been untouchable. They very rarely kick out a royal. And then to arrest him on his birthday, I mean, I'm just saying, I'm here for all of that. Yes. How are you guys? So good for you guys to join me. Really appreciate you. Um, yeah, Eclipse said, hold my beer. That's absolutely truth. And that's true too. Happy freaking birthday, Andy. I think that's the response that I wanted to have, but I missed that opportunity. But yeah, um, there's so many things happening right now with the Epstein files. God darn it. Probably don't need to say that out loud. But yeah, you know what? Here's the thing, right? Like, here's a good question. Let's just stay with the royals for a minute while people are coming online. How much did Queen Elizabeth know about Epstein? Well, she knew. Here's the thing about her. Obviously, I'm not a, I'm not like a stan or a super fan, but I have a lot of respect for her. I think, given the card she was dealt to become queen so young and to take on all the things that she took on, I think she did an admirable job. That's what the guides are saying, and they don't pull any punches, as you know. I think that she knew about him, and I think she knew about Andy, and I think she knew about others, and I think that she was limited, even as queen. They call it the firm, right? If you guys, I mean, this is like an organization. Even as the queen, it's not like she was able to literally rule with an iron fist. These people all had their own sort of puzzle pieces that fit together. They had their own little power plays. So I think she did know a lot about what was happening. Um, but again, think about her being, and I think this is a good point they're making, right? Think about any leader like Biden, even being one person and knowing that this cabal is existing through so many leaders, so many world leaders, so many untouchables. You know who got why am I even talking about this? Anyway, so I think Les, whatever his name is, Lexler, whatever his name is. So he's over there doing his deposition. Okay, so he's on the camera. He's sitting next to his attorney. And he starts talking about the Rothschilds. And he starts talking about how, oh, well, I knew this one Rothschild, and then they introduced me to the owner of Google, and then they introduced me to this person, and they introduced me to everybody, and then we did these things. And finally, his attorney, who's sitting next to him, y'all, the mic must have been on like some kind of ultra sensitive thing, because that microphone picked up the whisper that the attorney said in this guy's ear. And he said, if you effing say one more thing that's longer than 5 words, I will kill you. And Les was like, ha 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 ha. Yeah, dude. I think the energy's coming fast, furious, loose. It you cannot stop it. The guides have been saying forever, you cannot stop it. Right. He's the founder of Victoria's Secret. He was involved in so many things in the 80s that teenagers were involved in, not just Victoria's Secret. There's multiple stores that people went to and worked at that had connections to him. It was sort of like his, it was his clearinghouse. He was able, and if you remember, maybe I don't know what your version was, but to get a job at some of these stores, I mean, you had to have a certain look. You had to be a certain type of beautiful person. So they were already, culling out people. And then I think they use those people to kind of move them into the modeling and move them into other areas, right? So, yeah, but I'm happy. It is starting to crumble, Debbie. It really is. And I think it's really important. When I was on live with Kevin Loving Vibrations Thursday, he made a really good point. And I think this is a really good point because I'm maybe like you, I'm waiting for the explosion, right? I want that climax release of boom, you know what I mean? And everybody gets their justice or whatever. And instead, I think this is a good forewarned is forearmed situation. Instead, the pressure is building, but it's emanating out of the fissures all around the volcano. So there's gas, there's pressure being released over here, over there. We may not get that big boom that we want. We may not get that. We may get a lot of smaller booms. And I think that let's celebrate all of those, right? Because that really may be how justice is given to us, is through these smaller revelations. Now, again, I don't think Andy getting arrested on his birthday is a small revelation, but perhaps for us, it's not like I think maybe the boom for us might be 45 getting arrested, not on his birthday, but tomorrow, right? Like that would be something that we would all feel an immediate sense of release of the pressure. And I think it's going to come to us in other ways. Yeah, I'm reading some of your comments, of which there are a lot. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for joining me. Will Andrew rat out Trump? Now, I think this is a really, Little Blue Lotus Astrology. Hey, girl, hey, y'all follow Little Blue Lotus Astrology. That's all I can say. Like, I get readings from her every 6 months, and she does my transits, which is like so important because your planets are moving. You get your natal chart that's set, but look what we're experiencing right now, freaking eclipse and all these things with Neptune and Saturn, also why this stuff is actually coming out. But anyway, Little Blue Lotus says, well, Andrew rat out Trump. I think this is very interesting because what you see is often curated. Okay, so think about that. When I go onto social media, I could see 1,000 million things, but I'm shown very specific things. Not always, but often enough that I've come to be able to recognize the energy of why I was shown that, right? So pay attention to what pops up in your life, what pops up on your screen, people that pop up. It doesn't mean you're supposed to marry them. Hello. But it does mean maybe they're here to give you a message or a lesson. And I saw this thread pop up where this guy said, I happen to run in this circle, and I have a friend who runs in the circle with Mr. Andy. And I asked him, what is Andy going to do? And my friend said, well, he's got guns at home. That was his only comment. And then one of the posters beneath said, well, no, they took all those guns. I'm like, so, but that tells you, right, that this person who runs in that circle, who actually can be able to talk to, Mountbatten Windsor, is saying he's got one choice, and that is he's got to take himself out. That's what this guy's comment was, very dry. It was like matter of fact, like, well, he's got guns at home, right? So I don't. The other thing I will say when I go into his energy, into Andy's energy, I love calling him Andy. I think it strips him. I think it makes him human, right? Let's strip you of all that royal blood BS. You're just a guy, right? I mean, hello, he can buy more guns, like right, exactly. Or somebody can give him a gun and say, you need to do this, right? So, but when I go into his energy, Andy, he's not. he's a wimp. He's afraid. He's not a big bad energetically. He's not a person who can withstand this kind of thing. And I also don't think he's the kind of guy who would take himself out, because that takes a lot of guts or resolve or something, right? It takes a lot. I mean, the human will to live is pretty strong. So I think if he disappears or crosses or deletes or whatever, however you want to say it, I think it's a mercy. The guides just said it would be a mercy, Killing, and I think they mean that on multiple levels. It's a mercy because the people that do it see it as a mercy. We don't want your name darkened any more than it is, and also we don't want our name darkened any more than it is. So this is good for both of us, right? And I don't know why they're calling it a mercy. That's what they're calling it. I think that's kind of, again, I'm getting this from them and they're reading the energy of these people, right? So you also have to take that into account. Um, yeah, I can read on his children. Oh, Lord have mercy. Do I want to? Jay Jane says, "Can I read on his children?" All right. Well, here's what the guides are saying. Look, if you follow the royals, which I don't really, but I know enough to know enough, and then the guides are filling in the rest. Anybody that's raised in that environment, the guides are saying the stiff upper lip. You know what I mean? Like you don't, things are batshit crazy. You know that, but it's what you were born into. So it's not something that you're not normal. You're not one of the people. You're in a completely different regime. That's what they're calling it. And so I think his kids are, I hate to say this, but the energy I'm getting, you guys, is they're more worried about themselves. They're more worried about, okay, great. This is a besmirch. This is, guides always use that word. I've been besmirched, right? This is a problem because they're thinking of their kids. They're thinking of their progeny, the guides are saying, and they're worried about, are we going to be able to get into the best schools? What does this mean for me? What does this mean for my kids' lineage, heritage? You used to be royal and now you're not even royal, and now your granddad is on the sex offenders list. Are they going to get blacklisted? This is what they're thinking. Maybe I'm wrong, but when I go into this energy, this is what they're thinking. It is very much a cult atmosphere, Bad Hair Day. It because it is a insular, it's very insular. And you know what? The guides woke me up, and they got to stop doing this. I'm telling you right now, I need to call 1-800 Spirit Guides, and I need a special extension because y'all have already called that line so much. It's always busy. I can never get through. It's like when you find that really good handy person or hairdresser and you make the mistake of telling your friends, and then you can't even get an appointment because all your damn friends are. Anyway, that's what y'all done blown up the 1-800 Spirit Lights, and I can't even get through. But I just want to say, they got to stop waking me up with this stuff. They woke me up this morning with the word hidebound. Look it up. They always use these words, right? Hidebound. And I looked it up because they made me. I mean, I thought I knew what it meant, but it just basically means being a prisoner, being a prisoner to your thinking, being a prisoner to this structure. So they said to me, the royalty is hidebound. Let's just talk this a little bit more about this because the guides also talked about the royalty. If you've watched me, you'll probably have seen me mention royalty over and over and over again. Like they keep saying, if they will delist a royal, this is a big deal, right? Like this is like their canary in the coal mine to see if this is going to be a big deal. This is their test case. Well, it's a big deal. And so the guides kept saying royalty, 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 talking about royalty. Well, here we are. Even me, I'm like, oh, this is the reason why they were talking about royalty, because Andy is, SOL getting mugshot on his birthday. But, I knew something was happening to the royalty. I talked about it last year. I said the royalty is going to change. It's not going to be what it was. It's too isolated from the people. I talked about William taking over sooner because the brand is being ruined, right? Think about, if you will, those big, beautiful coronations and those carriages and how people travel there to watch it. This has all been sullied. This has all been darkened. And I know Queen Elizabeth is rolling in her grave because this is what she tried to keep from happening. She tried to isolate the bad people and keep like a firewall. So that's on fire over there, but I've got this firewall. It's not going to come over here. Well, now she's gone. The whole palace is burning down. And the last thing I want to say, because it's important, um, and I've also talked about this a lot, and now I'm starting to realize the fact that I've been talking about royalty, they direct me to say these things, right? So it's important. They never waste energy. It's so hard for them to get a message through that they don't just say things for, giggles. So I'm going to mention it again that when William and Kate disappeared for months, and they had fake Kates. The press was in on it, but it all got exposed. You may not know this, but it got exposed, and um, they keep bringing it up. I don't know why, but they keep bringing up William and Kate. So pay attention to that. That could be something that's happening. Um, what are you saying, JC? JC has been around a long time. That's true. Uh, you're spicy, JC. Not gonna lie, you're spicy. Okay, let's see what you said here. Meanwhile, Trump is wrecking ball to our environment, just signed order to mine where endangered species live. He's killing our wildlife and doing all he can while he focus on EPS. No, that's all true. Look, his game is distraction. Why do you think all these things, all these military operations are pointing at Iran, right? He needs distractions. And when it comes to the environment, it's about money. Look, everything's for sale. This is now the market of the United States of America. What do you want? Do you want to buy the Grand Canyon? It's for sale. Do you want to buy Mount Rushmore? That's for sale. How about any national park? That can be for sale. Do you want to buy the Kennedy Center? Oh, that's for sale too. So, yeah, it's all true that the environment is burning down. But I will say this, JC, and that is that I have to just tell you, I'm sorry, because the e-files are not going anywhere. They're just not. It's like they will not go away. This is what the guys kept saying. They are here. You cannot shut them down. You cannot hide them. You cannot. As soon as you shut Jennifer Giuffre down, right? Somebody else pops up. And then 20,000 others pop up. This is what the guide's been saying for a long time. It's like you shut one down and three pop up. You shut three down, 20 pop up. So it's almost like that video game where when you kill one, like 10 more, it's like exponential. So I'm just going to tell you that you're going to hear about the files ad nauseum for a very long time. It's just the biggest. The guides are saying it's the biggest weapon we have, it's the biggest hammer we have, it's the biggest thing we have to move the needle. And rest assured that this is actually helping the environment, because when we get rid of these Ponzi scheme politicians, is what the guides just called them, then we can get real people in there, because this is our next lesson is discernment. And we're going to get real people in there, and then real people are going to fight for the environment. So the thing that's bringing you the safety of the environment is the e-files. It's just the vehicle that's working, right? That's what I would say about it. I know people are not paying attention to the environment, but it's like the house is on fire and we got to put that out first some kind of way. Wow, what's going on in the comments? Cannibalism, oh, kind of swamp slime balls. I mean, I don't know. The comments are pretty wild over here, you guys. I don't know what y'all are up to on Friday night. Okay, let's jump over here to Strong Little Mama says, what's going on with the Russian planes flying over Alaska? I'm going to say this. You feel free to fact check me. They often fly over Alaska. This is not new. This is not new at all. They like to have incursion, the guides are saying, which incursion means going over a boundary or a line. They do this with Poland. They do this with everybody. It's just their little bully tactic of saying, Nah, 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 nah. We're flying over your airspace. Because here's the thing, this is why Russia is who they are. If we shoot their plane down, that's an act of war. And our military is not going to do that. They're not going to have an act of war. But this is why Russia has become the bully. This is why 45 didn't get sentenced by Mershon, because he's a bully and he threatened people and people believed it. So at some point, we do need to just shoot the plane down and say, stop jacking with us. You want to go to war? We'll go to war with you. We're tired of this BS. We're not going to allow you to fly over our borders. This is what the guides said all those years ago when they said we have to seize the power we don't want to seize. So instead, just like any narcissist, we're walking on eggshells, trying not to upset the narcissist, right? It's what the whole world is doing. The whole world is walking on eggshells, trying not to upset Putin because they don't want a World War III. When in reality, you could shoot his plane down and you wouldn't have World War III because the man doesn't have it in him to have it. You know, when Ukraine first erupted, everybody was like, oh, nuclear weapons, oh my God. And us psychics were like, no, it's not going to happen. Their planes are literally been looted. They went through their actual literal military planes and took the good stuff out and sold it. They do not have the wherewithal to start World War III. But we have to stand up to the bully. This is in your personal life. This is in your work life. This is on the world stage. We have to stand up to the bully. So that's what's going on there. It's been, look, remember the guides are reminding me. Remember when the balloon floated over most of the United States of America? And we were like, nothing to see here, folks. Don't look at the balloon. It doesn't exist. Because we don't want to start a war with these countries. So we just allow them to take advantage of us. And then we walk on eggshells. This has got to stop. And this is why last year the guide said the United States is going to be more protectionist, more isolated. They said all these things that are happening right now. I don't agree with it. I'm just telling you the energy of it. Maybe at some point we all do have to be more isolationist in the sense that we have these boundaries. And if you come across this boundary, we're going to shoot your thing down. And you just decide if that needs to be a war, because I don't think it will be a war. I think it's a message. Do not mess with us. Stop it. Stop affecting our ELECTIONS, right? Stop doing these things. We've got to stand up to them completely with no fear. We just need to do it. It's not going to stop until we stand up to them, unfortunately. I know I'm so close to 100,000. I'm kind of been stuck here for a minute. But we're going to get there. We're going to get there. Thank you all so much for showing up tonight. Thank you for supporting me. It's free to subscribe. So, well, actually, you have to subscribe to comment. So if you're watching this, hit the subscribe button. No, well, can the states file charges against the pedos since the Fed government won't? The guides are saying it's very complicated. The guides are saying there is federal jurisdiction. Like, so again, they're using the example, they've done this before, when you see like, what is that special crimes unit? What is the name of that show? And, or whatever detective show you're watching. And then the FBI steps in and says, we're taking control of this investigation. You have to back out. So the feds can trump, so to speak, the state government in some areas, not in all areas, but in some areas. And SVU, yeah. And I don't know if that ever happened on SVU. I didn't watch that show, is what the guides are saying. But there is a jurisdiction situation here. And that's why, a lot of states, their hands are behind their backs. Like they just can't do that much. And then, unfortunately, you have the federal courts have ruled several hundred times against ICE, but nobody pays any attention. There's no teeth in it because we didn't realize that our Constitution was like Swiss cheese, that it just doesn't, it has a lot of holes and there's just not a lot of teeth. That the whole country's been running on this sort of handshake premise of traditions and we won't go too far. And now we have a megalomaniac in there who hijacked our country and he's going all the far. He's doing all the things. So we are not equipped turns out we're not equipped to deal with this. And I really feel like the only way we're going to get out of this is, I mean, so it's the same things they always said, always from the beginning of this situation, right? He could flee, but I see him being returned. He could be 25th, which is you're not suitable to hold office. He could be impeached and convicted. So impeached in the House and convicted in the Senate and removed. Or he could go to the great hamburger restaurant in the sky or in hell, as it probably will be. So there's one more option. And I have talked about this too, and that's the military. Because at some point, this gets to be so lawless and so out of control, and it borders on anarchy, and then we just have total chaos, right? So I think those are the options. Those are six ways this is all going to end. There's no other way for this to end. Now, all of those things are not equal in how easy they are, right? We know that Congress is not feeling like getting rid of him. But I will say to you that the robber barons, this is what the guides have always said, are going to make a deal because they are starting to feel very, very uneasy about things. Now, they got money. They can last. They got money. They got way more money than anybody else, probably even God, and they can last forever. But it's not, they would be drawing down on their savings and not having income coming in. That doesn't work for them. That's not a model that works for them. And I'm telling you again, the auto industry in the United States is about to go through the worst thing ever. Truly the worst thing ever. Like I think Toyota just made another deal with Canada. Uh, our automakers are about to just go through, and the workers are about to go through some really, really hard things. So I think the robber barons are going to blink. And I think they're going to, and especially, right, especially the guides are saying with Andy getting arrested on his birthday. I can't tell you guys how important that is. This is royalty. Even if they took him out of royalty, it doesn't matter. This is an untouchable human being that laws do not apply to. Laws do not apply to royals. Period. End of story. First of all, they released, they demoted him. Then, second of all, he got arrested on his birthday. If you don't think that is a message from somebody to all of these, untouchables, we're coming for you. I bet they're not sleeping at night. I truly believe that because they don't know where the threat is coming from because now they don't even understand what is happening. What do you mean? I was untouchable. Now we're getting arrested? How is that even possible? The energy is coming for them. So that's how this is really going to break. I think. And also it has a lot to do with, what are they saying? Chips. It has a lot to do with chips. You recall that Biden did this amazing chip deal with South Korea. Well, so now some of the chip makers are not producing chips and they're withholding chips from us. And 45 is selling our super high military grade classified chips to China. So you're not going to be able to get chips for your computers, for your phones, for your cars. That I believe that is coming, and I think that is going to be, it's going to be wild. It's going to be absolutely wild. It's going to cause everything to go through the roof, right? The scarcity, you can't get it. Yeah, Andrew is a watershed event, definitely. We did. Consumers made them. We made the oligarchs. They live in bubbles. It's true. That's all true. But I'll tell you, these whoever they are, these Gen Z people, they're like analog. They're finding cassette tapes. They're getting flip phones. They don't like Big Brother. They don't even like having to subscribe to get their music. They're buying vinyl records. Don't worry. The oligarchy, the consumerism is about to go down. And I mean really go down. I've predicted this for a while, right? So I know we did make them, but guess what? They had their day in the sun and they're about to, that's going to affect workers because we are the ones that make the products, right? So we need to start preparing, getting a side gig, getting something that's, like the guides have told you guys multiple times, like sell bread, learn how to do something to help people. There's going to be people with money. find a skill that they want to pay you for. And it could be like helping their kids with an experience, right? Like maybe you just have a really incredible passion for aquariums. Maybe you turn that into a side hustle. Maybe you have an incredible passion for butterflies. Maybe you start taking people on butterfly tours when it's butterfly season. Maybe you're really, really good at fixing that lawnmower. Trust me, we're going to need that because we're not going to be buying any new lawnmowers. So these things that are your little quirky thing that you do, start charging for it now. Create a side hustle. That's going to help you. It's going to cushion you from whatever happens to your job. And if something does happen to your job, then that becomes your business for a while. They keep talking about making food and like selling it off your porch. I know you need to have health permits. I'm not telling you to do anything illegal. I'm just suggesting that these are some things that my guides had said. That's a really good question. Honeybee says, what is the future of the Heritage Foundation? You know, they've talked about this before. The Heritage Foundation is one of the engines. Now, obviously, there are others and biggers like the Rothschilds, but the Heritage Foundation is a pretty big engine for getting Republicans into office and then paying for them to do what they want them to do. So it's an important thing. And the guides have said before that they have gone and said, and this is where I think the robber barons are. They're like, this is too far. You guys, like, we're supposed to be able to do this in a shadow. Nobody can see us. But you guys are over here just making it all like hang out, like Wes Lex or whatever his name is over there talking about the Rothschilds. My God, if that guy's alive in 3 days, it'll be a miracle, right? So the Heritage Foundation this is what I said last year. They wanted to retreat back into their caves, their hidey holes, and they always said these words, will live to rule another day. So it's super important that you have longevity. And here they always show me Roger Stone, who was there during Nixon and then disappeared for several decades and then pops up when Crazy Orange Man comes back, right? Same thing with God, they show me their faces. I also have a complaint. I don't want to be shown their faces. I need their names because the face doesn't help. I see the face. The face is there. I see the face. It's not a pretty face. I should also get hazard pay for that as well. Anyway, we all know who that guy is. He was AG and he stepped down in December right before in Trump's first term. Steve Bannon, thank you. I'm telling you right now, I am in a wrestling match with my spirit guides. It is not pretty. Okay. So he's another one, right? That they disappear when they don't have power because they need to keep the power. They don't want to be seen. They don't want to be investigated. They want to slip away into the darkness. But as soon as they get an opportunity to have power, they rush back and take control. So that's what the Heritage Foundation wants to do. I wish I could tell you that I see them disappearing or being disbanded, but I see them being very weakened, the guides are saying. So maybe more weakened than ever before in their history. So this is they're down to like a shell of an operation, but they're not going away. And what do the guides always say, right? The guides always talk about, I don't watch these movies, y'all, because they're documentaries. I don't watch them. But they always talk about how the monster runs into the woods, and then you're like, darn it, I'm going to have to watch another sequel because the monster wasn't killed. This is the Heritage Foundation, right? This is Roger Stone, Steve Bannon. They ran into the woods, they disappeared, but they're going to be back, right? Maybe that's the way this planet is, right? We know this planet is duality. We know that it's not nirvana. We know that it's light and dark, and the interaction between those two is how we grow. So, but I would say that they're going to have they're going to be weakened dramatically. The guides are saying. Teach yoga, DoorDash. I mean, all the things. There's so many things. There's so much more than DoorDash, you guys. You can teach music, any hobby you have. I'm not kidding. You have a hobby, maybe even start a YouTube channel, right? It's feeling like the pandemic in the sense that we're all sort of hanging out at home more and we're all watching videos more, and we're all getting hobbies. Now, that could also be because it's crazy town outside with ICE, or it could be that we don't have money, or it could be that we're so sick of plastic world, which is what the guides just called our lives out there. We want reality. We want real reality. And guess what? We got reality TV shows that weren't real. They weren't real. We're so sick of fake. We want real. So we're going to retreat. We're going to retreat and do our own thing. So if you know how to do something, get on YouTube and help other people know how to do it. And it could be anything, any niche, any little niche thing. I swear it could be anything at all. Why not try it? YouTube is free. Why not just try it? Yeah, the license plate readers are out of control. I don't see I don't see that what do they call that? They're calling that the authoritative state or authoritarian state or the authority. It feels like the words are the authority state. I, I don't see that changing too much, and I'll tell you why. Everything is about to switch from they're watching us because they want to control us or put us in jail, whatever it is. It's going to switch because once we get control of the government, there's going to be these factions. These thugs that are in ICE, they're going to go back into their MILIATISs, right? They're going to, because this is being paid for by other countries. There's money in this. So they're going to start causing trouble. And we're going to need those. This is what the guides are saying. You know who to call? Line's always busy, whatever. We're going to need those cameras because we're going to need to be able to see that this person walked up and put a BOMB somewhere. The guides have been predicting for the last year and a half about the troubles in Ireland where there's insurgents. It's just going to flip. It's not really going to flip because those people are still, bad people that are doing bad things, right? They're just not paid by the government. They're paid by somebody else. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't know. Is Jack Smith planning something behind the scenes? Jack Smith is waiting for his window of opportunity. He is, they're showing me a, a picture of him in a command room, but it almost looks like there's windows and he's looking at a football field. I mean, because it looks like it doesn't look like screens. It looks like somehow he's seeing reality without the screen. He's mapping out multiple potentials just like I do, just like, so I'm like, okay, this energy is strong, this energy is strong, this energy is strong. Which one is going to come to be reality? So I'm watching to see which one starts gaining steam. And then I know that's the direction that the reality is taking. That's what he's doing. He's waiting for his opportunity. I will also say that he is not going to expose himself or his knowledge any sooner than he needs to because he wants to be 100% sure that he's protected and that he has the might of the law. So he wants to show up as a prosecutor with the backing of a real DOJ. He's not going to go maverick nothing because he is a structured legal person. He operates within government. So he's waiting for the government to give him the green light. So he's ready. He's absolutely ready. He just is just waiting, which is fine, I think. What else are we talking about here? Social Security in danger. Also, I have state employee retirement. Will that be secure? Diane Good. Social Security in danger. It's not in danger, but it's not. It's like sick. It's like not well, but it's not in danger. Does that make sense? It's not a mortal wound, but it's not healthy. The money is not really there. It's been pillaged or pilfered. Pilfered is the word they're using. But we're going to get all this back because when we get control of the government, we're going to we're going to get that money and put it back in our government. I mean, it's not going to be overnight and it's not going to be easy, but we are going to fix these things. Um, so I think it's limping along. So they just said it's limping along. I don't see you guys, it's free will, right? It's free will, and these people are literally batshit crazy. So right now, I don't see them deleting it, but it is, if we leave them in office long enough, they're going to do more damage, right? And then you said you have a state employee retirement. Why did they say optional? Opt out, optional, optional. What are you guys talking about? State employee retirement. I think it's fair to Midland. Again, it's getting a beating. All these things are getting hammered and suppressed and a beating. I think it's secure, but I think that you might find that they do interesting accounting. Like they say, we're going to spread out the payments a little bit more. We're going to change the way we pay you. It's all going to work out in the wash, but it's going to be like creative accounting on their behalf to make sure that they can do this. Hopefully that makes sense. Um, I'm telling you, these younger people are just not about it. Like I saw a kid today pay with Apple Pay. I mean, this was like a 10-year-old getting a hot dog at the gas station, right? But I think that the tide is turning. The tide is really, really turning. Yeah, see here, somebody turned their spare room into an Airbnb, and that's their side hustle. I just tell you guys, we're going through a kind of a prolonged recession. Um, it is what it is. It's we will learn to work with it. We will learn to budget. We will learn to deal with it. But my people are going to be much better prepared. As a matter of fact, I think everybody in our community is much better prepared because this isn't going to catch us off guard. We're going to start putting away that $20 a week, $20 a month, $5 a month, whatever it is you can, or you're going to be smart about how you spend your money. And then that way, when things go sideways, you're not in so much peril, right? It's really a good idea. Just be careful about it. So here's another question about avocado toast says, what's going to happen to the Mercers and the Koch network, which is like Heritage Society, Mercers, Koch network. Well, Koch, even though they do fund a lot of politicians, they have, you know who they're talking about is Trammell Crow. I only know about Trammell Crow because the guys just told me, but I only know about them because in Houston, Trammell Crow is a really big company. And one of the brothers is maybe in the files. I don't know why they brought that up. Um, but anyway, the Coke network, I think because what they're saying is these companies are international and they're liquid. They've got their little grubby criminal fingers allegedly in all these places. So the Coke network is going to make it through, although they will be less, pushy or less public about things. Again, like the Heritage Foundation, they all want to crawl under a rock. They just want to get out of the spotlight. If they can get out of the spotlight, they can live another day to come back and have their agenda go back again. They'll retreat. They're just going to retreat. The same thing with the Mercers. The Mercers feel more public. I don't know why, but they just feel more publicly known, or I don't know. They have more public reputation to lose, is what the guides are saying. But they're all going to try to go away. See, this is what I'm saying. Here's somebody, she can make, or he or they can make food, teach music, and watch old people. You guys, take your Sundays, take your evenings, and just start making some extra money. You will be so glad you did that in a year. You will be so glad you did that. And those people that aren't paying attention, that just think everything is fine in the United States, rah, 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 they're the people who are going to be really, really in dire straits because they didn't pay attention. They're not paying attention. Because you're paying attention, you're going to do the things you need to do to get through this. Or you're plugged into a community like this and you can ask for help and receive help. We're just so much better off because we're awake and we're not afraid to look at what's happening and deal with it. Cindy P, how are you? Says, will Citizens United ever be overturned by the next two elections? Well, the first one, no, because well, I take that back. There's really an energy around a potential where kind of all hell breaks loose in a good way. We can move through this as fast as we want to, right? Like if we want to fast forward through this really quickly, we could. But if we want to take more time because people are not aware of what's happening and they can't believe what's happening, and then you have to wait for them to believe what's happening, and then you have to wait for them to go through all the stages of grief, and then you have to wait for them to take action. If we had to do all that, it's going to take a lot longer. Also, the guides just said, this is going to piss me off, but anyway, that they're going to throw us bones. It's going to, think about it. The Democrats are like, oh, beating their chest. We got Citizens United. Wow. Meanwhile, the environment is literally, falling into the ocean and on fire. Meanwhile, we don't have reparations. We don't have health care. We don't have really and truly racial equality. We're not helping our Native American, but oh no, we got Citizens United, right? So we have to be careful about falling for them throwing us a bone. That's a big bone. It's not a small bone, but we need the whole meal, not just the bone left over, right? So I think that we could get it, but I think if we do, I feel like it just feels like some kind of like throw them a bone, then they'll be so happy they'll won't even see us doing all these other things. It'll be a distraction. There are so many things we need to do, and that is one of them for sure. But I think I would say two elections. I would say by 2032. I don't think the other one, but I think 2032. Yeah, TPUSA is horrendous, right? Like they're horrendous. They're Turning Point USA, Erica with 3Ks and Charlie, their little the thing about that is it's not working. The guides are saying it's not working because unfortunately this is not great. When he DED'd, when he crossed over, a lot of his people went to the Groypers, which is even worse, and they went to Nick Fuentes, which is even worse. So I mean TPUSA to me feels like it's a paper tiger. Very, very, very irritating, but it's lost its it's mastheaded. It lost Charlie. Here, see, as an accountant that loves how to garden. That you guys, if you know how to garden, we're all going to be wanting victory gardens. That's what the guides just said. Doesn't mean that we're at war. It means that we feel like I can't explain it, but we don't even want to buy produce in the grocery store. We hate consumerism so much that we want our community gardens. We want to be gardening in our backyard. So if you know how to garden, especially for your little microclimate, because it's all different, then you could start up a little weekly, you know, workshop in your backyard, especially in the spring, and say, hey, this is what I'm planting. Pay $10, $20, maybe you make $100, right? But it's at least something. And you're creating community. And people are, it's all about energy exchange. I know everybody wants to do everything for free. But here's the thing. We all have bills to pay. We all have bills to pay. And having that $100 could buy your glasses. It could get you an oil change. It could help you, right? And you're helping them. So let's think about equal energy exchange, right? Like, you're not charging them $100, you're charging them 10 or $20. This is knowledge that you're giving them, right? So yeah, I hope you guys consider doing these things because also it's community, and that's what the guides want us to do, is have bartering. We're going to definitely be bartering more. You better believe it. And you better believe that the government is going to try to pass laws that you have to pay taxes on bartering. We're going to tell them to just go take a hike in so many ways. I am talking about what's happening in Cuba. I've been talking about it a lot, actually. It's totally freaking me out. What's happening in Cuba? I do talk about these things on threads, and then I talk about them on YouTube, but I've been saying Cuba, Cuba, Cuba. And here we are. So right now, the US, I don't know the exact details. Maybe somebody will put it in the comments, but the US has stopped oil, or we've basically cut Cuba off to the degree that my spirit guides call it a humanitarian crisis. This is what my spirit guides, what I wrote this morning on threads. This is a humanitarian crisis. So now I think I read that Mexico or somebody is trying to help Cuba, but we know that the narcissist in chief is threatening everybody who helps Cuba, and he's threatening them with tariffs. He's threatening them with God only knows what. Cuba is in really, really bad shape, you guys. I'm telling you, humanitarian crisis level of bad shape. And it's all because he's trying to get them to bend to his will, so that he can then take over those beautiful beaches. That's what he wants. It's just like Gaza. They bombed and tortured those people, in my opinion, to take over and get those beaches. Now, Hamas is not Gaza. Don't even come to me because I'm not in the mood today. And don't do it, because my astrology, you think I'm spicy? My astrology is like level 29,000 spicy. So, anyway, I think other countries are going to come to Cuba's aid, but it's dire. And the last time I read on it on YouTube, I saw them capitulating to a new government that's probably shadow backed by us or somebody else, because again, it's like Citizens United. It's like, so we're going to come here and we're going to help you, right? We're going to help you. We're going to give you food. We're going to give you all these utilities. We're going to build roads. We're going to give you internet. We're going to help you. And those people are going to say yes, because they've lived without it for so long, and now they're in this humanitarian crisis. And I really do feel like they may say yes. And it's a shadow government, a puppet government, the guides are saying. Um, will it help them? Probably, but it's regime change. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It's very hard. It's very hard to say these people should starve to death, or should they get a new regime that's capitalistic, and in a way that that shiny stuff that you got, or even that food that you needed so bad, comes with a really big price, right? It comes with a really big price. So it's very conflicted. It's a very conflicted situation, if you ask me. Um, there's your puppet government, because we know that Russia's in bed with the orange turd. So the first thing that would happen is that, you know, the orange turd would start putting hotels. You know what I mean? That it's all connected. It's all connected. I know they think differently than that. I get you, Bad Hair Day, but I'm going to tell you, when I see humanitarian crisis, I'm talking about people dying of starvation. I'm not talking about oppression. I'm not talking about oppression. I'm talking about dying of starvation, dying without having any water. There's only so long your people can handle that before they decide to take the deal that saves their lives. This is not oppression. This is truly genocide. I'm just going to say the word. So I'm not going to, I don't know what to say about that. I don't want that to happen. But if they choose to save their lives of their children, and I can't judge that. I'm not there. I don't know what that would look like. Um, you know. Now I would say Haiti. I would say Haiti thinks differently. I think Haiti was the first ever to overthrow their government. So Haitians, that's a whole different story. Cubans, I think they've been repressed so long, but they've been alive. They've been repressed. They know how to eat on nothing. They know how to subsist on nothing. on very little, but they have their community. They have this beautiful culture, this beautiful community. But if you starve them to death, I mean, my God, people, that's terrible. Um, I tell you, my guides, they've never even used those words. Can't think of a time when they used humanitarian crisis. This is serious. This is very serious. Um, will we replace Hakeem and Chuck? Yes. Oh, Schumer's God. Oh my God. Um, the guides just said these people have a rude awakening coming. Again, it's not, I just stretch your imagination for a little bit. It's not unlike Andrew. It's not unlike Prince Andy. It's not like unlike him because Schumer thinks he's untouchable. These people that have hubris, that think they're untouchable, are going to get removed. They're not only going to get removed, they're going to be run out of town. And any sort of respect, I don't know what that word is they're using. What is that word when you have a when you have a money that's given to you for your library or something with your name on it, all that stuff is gone. Like that, they're going to be erased. They're going to be erased, just like 45 is going to be erased. Like I'm pretty sure they're going to erase Andy. They're going to try to erase any part of him. You cut out the rot, you cut out the cancer, and you get rid of it. That's what they're going to do. Yes, I definitely think that they're going to be gone. When is a good question. It could be as soon as next year. It could be this year. I mean, it doesn't need an ELECTION. These people can feel such anger and just being hounded and harassed that they step down. I mean, really, it's coming. Truly, it is. Yeah, 3 days without water is death. It's you guys. It's not. This is really terrible. I mean, it's Gaza level. It's really really bad. I feel sick to my stomach about it. I'm telling you, it's really really bad. Yeah, we do need a worldwide ban on 45's businesses. Ban, ban. The guys just said ban. They need to be taken over. When you have your assets, the court takes your assets because we need to pay all these people that have judgments against you. So banned is not, we need to actually grab their assets and put it into a trust that gets paid out to the American people, let's say, for the tariffs, right? Because we are the one that paid those $1 billion tariffs. Nobody else paid them but us. We paid them in higher prices. And now they're saying, oh, well, the companies will get their money back. What about the Americans? We're the ones who need to get our money back, right? There is something I want to talk about. I see Guthrie. I want to talk about her, but what is that thing they've been wanting me to talk about? Okay, yeah, let's talk about this too, because I haven't seen it in the chat. But so there's new movement on the ELECTION in Georgia. There's new investigations. There's just new awareness, and it kind of drives me a little bit crazy because the morning after that ELECTION, I came on here and said it was rigged, it was stolen. Like I just said it, and now so many people. I mean, it's probably a good thing, but so many people are like, "Oh my God, I think it was stolen." You know what I mean? I'm like, no shit, Sherlock. You know what I mean? But they are waking up. Um, and this is again, it's like the e-files. This energy is growing. It is not, you cannot contain it, you cannot stop it, you cannot hide it. It is growing. So now you're also seeing just average people who didn't pay any attention, who thought that it could never have happened. They're starting to say, oh my God, this happened, right? And here, our community, we know, we talk about it, we know this, we're intuitives, right? We can read the energy. But a lot of people are just waking up to that. So that's really really important. That is a really big indicator, the guides are saying. Andy getting prison, going to get his mugshot on his birthday, and this thing in Georgia, those are really big indicators that things are happening. It's sort of like the guides are saying, when you have the earthquake that is under the ground that you don't feel on top of the ground, but the earth is moving under the ground, and pretty soon you're going to feel it on top of the ground. I don't think I don't think anything is going to happen with the State of the Union. Wait a minute. Um the guides are saying something is going to happen, but it's not what we think, and it's not something is going to happen, but it's not what any of us are thinking. It could be that he just slurring his words, and he just looks completely like a train wreck, or it could be a threat that happens. Now again, false flag, it could be something that he does so that the attention is not on him, like somebody calls in a threat or something like that and they have to move, or he likes those kinds of things because it makes him look like he's under attack, and that makes him feel embattled, and it's something he likes. So something is going to happen with that, but it's not, I don't think it's what the average person is thinking is going to happen. Um, and Dave Johnson says he sees Andrew so angry that he may turn on everybody and rat them out. Well, yeah, yeah, he may. Do you really think that they're going to allow him to do that? Do you really think these people who did unspeakable things, murders of adults and babies, do you really think that they're just going to sit back and let this guy do this? I don't think so. I think they're going to. I think yes, that's the energy. I'm not saying Dave Johnson is wrong. I'm saying that's the energy, but I don't think they're going to let him get away with it. He may get a little bit out, but I think they'll do something to him. And he's very fearful. He is not a he's not a Harry. He's not a royal like Harry. He's not a stalwart badass. He's just a big baby. Yeah, shifts that cause cracks, Donna. Exactly. That's the ground is moving. Us sensitives can feel it, but everybody else can't. But when it starts moving on the surface, they'll feel it. Yeah, for sure. The European countries are leading the way for us. UK, Andy, France with their Elon and their elections. Absolutely. Absolutely. And, I said not a couple of weeks ago that Tim Walz kept saying the world is watching. And, you all know when you hear somebody say something, you're like, that has energy. Like that feels like it has energy. And he stated that he did like 3 or 4 different posts with that same statement over 2 days. And this was before all this started happening with investigating Elon. And I thought, yep, he knows. He's trying to give us hope. He can't say it, but he's trying to give us hope, right? These leaders can't really, they're also hidebound, the guides are saying. They're also locked into the system. They can't just do whatever they want to do. I think that's going to change, but right now they feel like they can't. I wish stroke seascape. I wish. I mean, one of the potentials is him being on camera and then all of a sudden having one of those situations happen in real time, and and I've talked about this many times, right? So he's talking, but we're hearing blah, 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 right? But he's enunciating in his mind, he's enunciating everything, but it's just garbage. And that's an indication he's literally having one right then and there. So that's one of the scenarios. These things are just like tracks that are laying, like train tracks that are all laying there empty. And the train can switch and go on one of those tracks. It's not set in stone which way it's going to go. But I'll say energetically, you're arresting Andy, you're investigating Elon, you're starting to catch on to Georgia. These people are being exposed, and they can. And Les is over there talking about the Rothschilds. his attorney's threatening to kill him on a microphone. So you can see now that things are getting pretty hot. And when things are hot, you need to make the thing that's causing it hot go away. Andy, 45, maybe even Elon, who knows? These people are the pain points. You're causing me pain. You're causing me money. You're causing me to be investigated. And if I get rid of you, my problems go away because you're the problem. Okay. So that's the energy right now. The energy is building that certain people need to get rid of the problem. And in the past, the problem has been Virginia. The problem has been these victims. We get rid of the problem. We get rid of Ivana. But now the problem is bigger, and bigger people have to be silenced in whatever way that is. So when I was talking about strokes, they took me straight to that. So you can understand this is, you're going to have a link there. It could be that somebody messes up his medication, right? It could be that this is all planned, that this happens on camera. The guides do not waste words. They do not just talk about stuff nilly-willy. They really don't. So I'm catching on to the fact that 1 minute I'm talking about this and then I'm talking about that. That means they might be linked together. And I honestly couldn't just tell you what I just said. That's why I said this and that, because I couldn't even, I'm channeling. I don't know what I just said. But you guys do. All right. This is what I'm saying, but like the hidebound, if you look up that word, here Jeffries is saying, and we have a government. And if the Democrats don't act like we have a government, then it's over. I mean, the whole country is a failed state. So I think everybody's trying to act like we have a government. They're going and doing the votes. They're going through the motions, acting like we really have a government. I'm not sure we do. I think we already have a failed state. And for me, sometimes watching them go through the motions just feels like, what are you doing? Arranging the deck chairs on the Titanic, right? That's Susan, not the spirit guides, right? So Jeffries is a problem, but the Dems are a problem because they're not. Now here's the spirit guides. The spirit guides are saying they're not meeting the moment. They're not meeting the moment. And this is why I think we're going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I'm not saying it's a good idea, but I think people will be so angry that good people will be thrown out, bad people will be thrown out because we're not able to discern anymore what's good and bad. You know, they always use this analogy. If you've ever been through a fire or a flood or something, and you're like, everything is ruined. Now, in reality, it's not. Like, you could probably save this shirt. You could probably save these photos. But at the moment, you're so overwhelmed by everything just looking ruined that you just throw it all out. I've been there. I've done that. But I've had friends that saved half of their stuff where I threw all mine out because I was overwhelmed. I couldn't think about how can I save this? I cannot deal with it. This is where we are with our politicians. We cannot deal with it. We cannot. You're guilty by association. You didn't stand up for it. Doesn't matter if they did. We're going to go against them. This is where I think the Democratic Party is really going to split. And I've seen that for a year now, that the Democratic Party is going to split. I've seen that the Republican Party is going to split. But I think this is what causes the Democrats to split. Now, could we have 4 parties? Yes, and that would be great. Honestly, we should have 6 parties, right? And that's fine. I'm good with that. I'm good with the Democrats starting some sort of, progressive or workers party. Like, that would be me. I'd be in that party, right? And maybe there's a conservative Democrats party, whatever. And I think if we had multiple parties, we could have those coalitions that they have in other European countries that help more people have a voice because the coalitions make, band together. So yeah. Yeah, see, Barbwell said she was able to save most of her clothes with help, but not most of her tarot decks or any of her furniture. it's devastating. I'm so sorry you went through that. It's absolutely devastating. But we are going to be in that devastation. We're going to be like, okay, I can't I can't make sense. We don't even know who to trust, you guys. This is what I'm saying. We just don't know who to trust. Something is brewing. Something is brewing. I'll say it, but I've been really spicy on threads. Let me tell you. Something is brewing with Tallarico and Jasmine Crockett. If you follow me, you know that I'm a huge Jasmine Crockett fan. You may have heard me say I have doubts about Tallarico. More and more things are coming out that look not 2 and 2 isn't equaling 4. One of his biggest $4 million super PAC, $4 million he got from the super PAC. This is the same super PAC that the Republicans and Tallarico's people were saying Jasmine Crockett was getting her money from. They were accusing her from getting her money from the super PAC. But it just came out today it was him. He was the one getting his money from the super PAC. Now, this super PAC may not be like Russian money, but why would they say it's bad and Jasmine is getting this money, but he was getting it, right? Like, I'm just telling you, discernment, you guys, discernment. We've had our Fettermans, we've had our cinemas, we've had our terrible, terrible, freaking paper Democrats that aren't real. We have to be way more discerning. And if we're not going to be discerning, we're just going to throw them all out because we can't, because we're overwhelmed. I'm not going to vote. That's the worst thing you can do. That's what the MAGAs are going to do. They're going to be like, I'm not going to vote. I don't know what to do. I'm overwhelmed. It's all bad. This is what the guides always told you. We don't want to get in that position. So we're going to have to sharpen our discernment. We're going to have to start paying attention. And I don't know if I even want to go here, but there's 2 other people that I will just say that I want you to pay attention. You make up your own mind. Don't listen to me. You make up your own mind. But Texas Paul, right? Like, this is a guy, if you don't know him, he's very big, big, big in social media. He's a white dude with a country accent, wears a cowboy hat that just talks plain English, right? Plain English. And that's really helpful right now. Like, it's just like you just want somebody to just be simple, right? Less plainly stated. And I have followed him for a couple of years. Well, my big problem was when Sasha Riley came out, he said, this is a psychological op, a psyop. And this guy is, and he said it with his whole chest. This is a psychological op, and you guys are being taken advantage of, and he's lying to you. And I was like, oh, for real? You don't want lying to me now. You know, you showed your true colors to me. Okay. I canceled. I stopped following him. I'm sorry. I have a line. He crossed the line. I believe in Sasha Riley. I believe in the victims. And this man is screaming at the camera, which he doesn't normally. That's out of line for his character. And he's saying something against something that I believe. So I just stopped following him. Now, here's the thing I want you to hear. I'm going to say this. I'm going to hold your little cheeks while I say this. There is a bit of a game afoot where Republicans, the Heritage Foundation, Koch brothers, Mercers, whoever you want to say, they fund Democrats because they want, there's a game afoot that says, look, Democrats, you can win, but everybody's going to stay within these goalposts. Nobody's going to tax us 50%. Nobody's going to get universal health care. We're not going to get that. But you can get these things. We'll let you get these things. And within these guardrails, you guys can duke it out. And it can look like real politics. It can look like real governance. It can look like this person's bad and this person's good. But in reality, there really are limitations. Why is Texas Paul telling us how bad the Democrats, how bad the Republicans are, how good the Democrats are, and then slips up and says something to protect pedos? Because he's got his marching orders. You can talk about this, you can't talk about that. This is the discernment that we're going into. This is why I say I think we're going to be overwhelmed. Like when I said this on threads, people were like, I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to believe. And it's like, I know it is overwhelming, but I'm just giving you a heads up. Forewarned is forearmed. There are people out there who are just preaching to the choir. They're basically telling it's an echo chamber, right? Like they're telling you what you want to hear, and it feels good to hear that. But in doing that, are they just keeping us captive in this topic? Because another thing that happened is none of these Democratic, liberal social media reporters are talking about Cuba. None of them are talking about certain things. They never bring it up. Why don't they bring it up? I want you to pay attention to what they don't talk about that you're wondering about, because that's going to help you understand who's paying them and where their guardrails are. They're free to take the gloves off and get crazy about these topics. Do it, but don't even talk about these topics. You guys, this is done. We're done with this. We're done with this. We are smarter than that. We're more discerning than that. And we ain't got no time for that. So seemingly, it's going to be like we cancel people that are good people. But in reality, maybe we have our reasons. And right, T-Barb. I mean, the thing is, there could be plants in the victims. You know, did it's accused, alleged that there are plants in the files that aren't real, that they put things in the files that aren't real to make people not trust. This is exactly what I'm talking about. I'm overwhelmed. I don't know who to believe anymore. I don't know what to believe anymore, right? If that's the case, I would just pause, just step back. These are not life or death decisions for us. We don't have to know the answer. What I would do is step back, create some space, and then just watch and see if their words match their actions. Just give them space. Give me space, right? Give all of us space and watch us. Watch us. And if one of us doesn't align with you, it's okay to move on. Okay? That's what I would say. Those are just important. It's this these fissures are going to be big. They're going to get really really big towards the end of this year, and there's going to be more infighting in the Democrats. There's going to be more accusations. It's just going to be it's going to be a lot. And I just want you to know in advance, right? Um you may have a particular senator that you like, and you may hear something about their management style that is not great, but you may decide that, well, maybe this person's a jerk as a manager, but you know what? All their votes are on. You know what I mean? Like, I'm okay with that because what they're doing for me as their constituent is worth it. Okay, so this is what I'm saying: discernment. Pick it apart. You know, don't just throw the baby out with bathwater just because they were a jerk to somebody. Maybe, maybe that's okay right now. Maybe until we get a better candidate, this is the best candidate we have. So it's okay to be discerning about things. Yeah, this is. I wasn't going to call them out, but these are other people. Midas touch. They don't talk about certain things. They just will not do it. You cannot make them do it. Why? You know what I mean? Why that? Why is that? Who's paying them? Why are they doing the things they're doing? Why are they? Because I'll say this, you guys, right? So, like, I'm talking about everything under the sun. But if I was only talking about like five things all the time, then I'm corralling you guys and making you pay attention to those five things. And then I'm making those five things more and more hysterical, more and more juicy, more, because I want you to pay attention to this distraction and not all that's happening over there. Like what's happening with Guthrie. Why in the heck is Fox News got her on 24/7? Like it's like OJ with the car speed. What, you know what I mean? Like that's the last time I saw this kind of coverage. Why are they doing that? Right? It's because it's a distraction. It's a good distraction. They test these things, right? So they were like, "Oh my god, everybody's watching this." Well, it's not hurting us. It's not making us look bad. Let's keep running it. Like let's keep everybody focused on this thing so they won't see that Andy got arrested on his birthday or that they're questioning the Election in Georgia. We don't want people to know that. We want people to focus on this thing over here. It's just something to know, I think. Yeah. Well, I'm glad. I was kind of sad about Texas Paul. I have to say, I was personally surprised, but I'm at this point in my life where, again, who said it? When people show you who they are, believe them, right? I'm at this point in my life where I'm out of extra passes. So, you know what I mean? It's like I don't have enough bandwidth to give you a bunch of extra passes. So, yeah, that's what's happening. And you guys make your own. Uh, what did Texas? Oh, right. Texas. Okay, so y'all are having a conversation about Texas Paul. I do know that people wrote back to me on Threads and said he's done other things. I didn't see them because I've been limiting. I don't want to be in that echo chamber where people are just telling me what I want to hear. I want to know what's really happening, right? I want fresh, unique viewpoints on things. So I don't follow Midas Touch and I don't follow Texas Paul and I don't follow Keith Edwards because I don't want to just hear the five same talking points over and over again. I want to know what's really happening in the world, right? So apparently he has done some other things, but I don't know what they all are. Haha, that's a great question. CJ Dim says, who do I think will be the first to be arrested like Andrew in the USA? I could be wrong, you guys, but I'm seeing a woman. Not what we want to hear. I mean, it could be Bondi. I mean, we could be happy. We could be happy. But I think the first person we want to see is the Orange Cretin. I'm seeing a woman. Now, that makes sense because, of course, if they're going to throw somebody under the bus, who's it going to be? Black person, number one. Brown person, number two. Native American. I mean, anybody's not white. And then last, it's going to be a woman, a white woman. They're going to throw her under the bus. They're going to pin everything on her. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen because they're planning it right now. This is their plan. I don't know if it's Bondi or Noam or who else. Who are some other women? It could even be Erica, I swear to God, with 3Ks. Although that woman is the Black Widow and the devil had a baby. That's her. I'm trying to get to the bottom of the comments to see what you guys are saying. That's a lot of comments. We have 4,500. Thank you guys for joining us. Please hit the subscribe button. Krusty, Bondi. Is it Bond? Gabbard. It's not Gabbard. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't feel like it's Gabbard. Gabbard is super, super embedded in the intelligence, and she would know before anybody that she was targeted. Like, I guess another way to say that is I don't know that they could catch her off guard enough to do it. I could be wrong. Bondi, but it does feel like Bondi. I don't think they're going to throw Melania under the bus. I mean, I'm not saying she won't get in trouble, but I don't see her. This is a big. It's interesting because the question you asked was arrested like Andrew. So to me, that means that kind of big energy that would have to be bigger than Melania. That would have to be a Bondi in my mind or a Noam. Is there anybody else? Why Susie Wiles, Ivanka. Oh, God dang! Somebody just look, y'all. Don't be doing that. What the hell just happened? What happened? Okay, hold on. Okay. Okay, no, I'm not joking, y'all. I don't ever do that. Y'all know I don't ever do that. What just hit me? I think it's Ivanka. What? Or Fergie. I was looking at those two names. I don't know who Fergie is. I was looking at those two names as something just literally hit me energetically. I don't think it's Ivank. I'm spelling it because obviously there's energy here. But I think that there's something that she is doing. There is something that she is manipulating. One of the things I talked about in the past was her betraying her father. I just see her, because you got to have a kid. Like a kid could put him in a mental institution, right? So or stop them from putting you in a mental institution. I see her betraying him. I truly do. I know people think that's crazy, but I see it. Um, McMahon. I don't know who that is. Payne Bondi. I think it's Bondi, y'all. I think it's Bondi. And you know what else? So I'm just telling you stream of consciousness what my guides do, right? So they just showed me, so y'all can connect the dots. I'm not going to say too much here, but they just showed me McConnell's wife's sister. McConnell's wife is Elaine Chow, right? So her sister is the one that died in the Tesla that went in the pond in Texas at this big ranch. And her Tesla drove into the pond and she was calling the house that she just came from. She was still on the property and she drowned. And the sheriff showed up and said, this is not an accident. And that's the last time we ever heard anything about that. I'm telling you it's not an accident. I'm telling you also that when I thought about IVA and KA and Fergie and Bondi, I saw this woman in the pond. There's a connection. Okay. Now, let me also say that this woman in the pond, can't remember her first name, but she was a CEO or very high up VP or something of a international shipping company, meaning shipping those containers of goods. And I'm telling you, you're going to find out that they were shipping people in those containers. And I'm telling you that they needed to get rid of her. Again, pain point, you have to go. Who's another one is Ivanka, the mother. The mother, right? She was going to do the deposition the next day or 2 days later, and she fell down the stairs and died when she's got an elevator and she doesn't even take the stairs. And she has come to me from the other side and said, they didn't have to do that. Like, they didn't have to do, she was like, they didn't have to do that. You know what I mean? Like, I was not going to do anything. They could have trusted me. You know what I mean? So there's a connection between either Bondi, Fergie, or IVA and KA. I cannot even say her name. I don't know what is going on right now with that, but I don't want to get that again. And McConnell's wife's sister's demise and the movement of humans throughout the world. So it's a lot. Well, I don't know if I've connected all the dots. I'm connecting some of them, but I'm not connecting all of them. But there's enough there to start to see, when you're putting a puzzle piece together, a picture, you're like, I'm starting to see something that resembles something, a tree or whatever, right? Like that's where we are. All the dots are starting to sort of come into focus, not all the way. I don't think we're ever going to have this completely, and we will think we do, but I don't think we will ever have this so sharply in focus that we know without a doubt everything, because this is, hundreds of years of this kind of work, this kind of, the word they had, but it's gone. It had a toot in it. It was some kind of like hidden stuff. It's been going on for a long time, but I think we'll get enough. It doesn't matter. We'll get enough. Yes, I think she does know that. And here the guides are saying this too, right? I've only ever said this one time, that the boys, they blocked their names, so I probably shouldn't say it. But the two boys, they're her brothers. They were also trafficked. Okay. This was a family affair, the whole thing. Yeah, it you saw what it did to me. Like it made me have a whole physical reaction. And I don't, I've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these videos. I think it's only ever happened maybe 2 times, 3 times. No, I don't think I don't think she did. No, she did not off herself. Jeffrey, she did not off herself. Nope, she did not. Um, why is there no news on Nancy Guthrie? It's also sad. Um, because as long as she's missing, then the guides are saying the circus with the lights and the oh wait over there on big top number 3 and oh no there's something on big top number 2. This can capture our attention. They're trying to capture our attention. Maybe not us so much, but for sure the whole country because it's playing on Fox. So they're trying to just keep everybody focused on this. Again, I don't know why you guys, let's maybe we need to add this to our dots, like again, like do the detective thing, but they brought me back to OJ and the chase. This is the second time they've mentioned it. These are not things I would ever say. These are not things I can't even remember, but I just remember when that was happening and during the trial we were all like this. Like I wasn't, but everybody I knew was. Everybody was like trying to go on their work break and watch the court case or watch it on the lunch break. Um, People were literally obsessed with it, right? This is what they're saying is happening with Guthrie is that it's an obsession and they're making it like that so that we will not pay attention again to these other things. Um, Ivana is the mother, right? Exactly. Um, and it is a China shipping company that she was VP, CFO, executive of. Uh, yes, I 1,000% McConnell knows about this. 1,000% that every single Republican knows about this because it's the payment you have to make to play. You don't join Hell's Angels and not be, you know, a horrible person. You've got to do something to prove. You join a gang, you're made into the mafia. You're not really in the mafia until you off somebody and you're made. It's all about these secret societies that say, I have dirt on you, you have dirt on me, therefore we're equal. This is their mindset. So I do believe that all of Congress, I think personally, the guys just said it out of my mouth, all of Congress knows about this. Do the Democrats try to pretend like they don't, or try to pretend like there's nothing they can do, or pretend like it's a rumor? Yes, but the Republicans 100% no. 100%, and especially McConnell. He's in on it. That's what they just said. Right. Ivana was going to testify in a few days, but she fell down the stairs. Yeah. Ivana with ZORRO Ranch. Yes, the guides are saying yes. I don't know if there's pictures, you guys. I'm psychic. I'm reading the energy. If somebody wants to fact check me, go ahead, but good luck. Like I said, 1-800 Spirit Guides is down. But yeah, I do. When you said that, I got a yes. Yeah, that's true. McConnell is lucky to find his underwear. Absolutely. Really interesting. Well, that could be her. That could be Bondi. It could be Ivanka. I'm telling you right now, you guys, they are infighting. They're eating each other. They don't know who the rat is. They don't know who's going to out you. It's a very dangerous situation. So, and life has no meaning to these people. There's no honor among thieves, the guides just said. So we'll just delete this person. We'll delete 5 of you. We don't care, right? I don't know if there's new news around Nancy Guthrie. I just think that to me, this was a warning. This was warning her daughter. Again, the mob will, and the guides have talked about this last year as well, that you threaten and you say, and we know this because Judge Merchan, we know that even members of Congress after J6, we know Mitt Romney was interviewed and he said, I've had to increase my security from all the threats that I'm getting. and I pay whatever. It was an insane amount of money. I don't know, $5,000 a day. I don't know what it was. And he said, but my colleagues cannot pay that. They cannot afford that. Even though that man was paying that security money, he still stepped down. He still left his position. He did not continue running for that position. So all these other people are being held hostage, blackmailed. Judge Merchan, I think the reason why he didn't put 45 in prison when he should have sentenced him, because his daughter was being threatened. And, now we have the Hortmans who were killed. We have somebody who died even just yesterday who was shot in their driveway, who's a big, I think, I'm not sure, it was a big proponent of sex assault victims. So yeah, you grab the mother of a journalist who's interviewed all of these Epstein files people, victims, and you threatened them and they didn't believe you, so then you do the thing. It's lawlessness. This is what I'm saying. The Democrats are acting like we have a quorum, we can vote, we have, parliamentarian rules. Meanwhile, the country's burning down. It just bugs me. I'm just saying. For entertainment purposes only, thank you. Stop thinking, stop drinking the Kool-Aid. Thank you so much. Yeah, for entertainment purposes only. No, so your question, lemon gelato, is the question is the shipping info what's keeping the turtle in line, meaning McConnell? It's not. It's not. It's a thousand things. That's one of the things, right? Really what keeps him in line, I've been in his energy way too much and I'm all fresh out of hazmat suits. But anyway, what keeps him in line is power. Is he believes that his vote, I mean, how many federal judges has he been responsible for blocking or putting in? I mean, he blocked Obama's Supreme Court choice because he said it was too close to the election. That's what keeps him that's what keeps him in power and in line is his vision. This is a KKK man right here. This is truly, even though he's with, somebody who's not quote unquote white, he doesn't like other types of people, let's just say. Plus, that was a business. They're saying that was a business deal, right? That was a business deal. That marriage was it's like she's his beard and he's her beard. That's a business deal. Beard means covering for somebody who's allegedly gay. I know. They have turned it, Mickey Mouse, who says that you're here late, but better than never. Uh, so they turned that picture into a meme. So they took this picture of Andy. I don't know how, y'all. I mean, he's leaning back, his mouth is open, and it's a terrible picture of him. They've already put a meme together. They put Easteen behind him with a smirk behind him, and he's like this. Oh my god, it looks like they're doing the dirty, and it's a meme. It's a meme. The memes are out there. Believe me, the memes are out there with those pictures through the windshield. They're the best. Um, Obama, is Obama going to push for the orange turd to be impeached and put in jail? Um, this is a man who is so cool and collected, right? Like he's a constitutional scholar. He's not somebody who's out for justice. That's not him. I think he wants to see justice, but I don't think he wants to be the one to be frothy and demand justice. I don't see that. I just don't see it. I don't know. I don't think he's going to push for that to happen. He's not been actively involved, right? So I don't see that. Um I'm not saying he doesn't want it. I'm not saying he's not a patriot. I'm just saying I don't see it. Oh, Fergie is Andrew's ex. Okay. Well, there's energy around her too, because it was those three, Bondi, Fergie, and IVA and KA. Oh, Fergie. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if y'all like Fergie or not, but if you do, you might want to say a prayer for her because she's in trouble. She could be Ivanka. She could be Ivanka. Again, they're going to get rid of the women because, if they have to get rid of somebody, they're going to go that route first. Um, just pisses me off. Okay, what else do we have on here? Yeah, Obama might do it behind the scenes. I think he's doing a lot of work behind the scenes, but that's also Obama, right? Like, no, outwardly, where'd they just photograph him doing something amazing with Michelle? But behind the scenes, you better believe he's doing things, but he wouldn't do it publicly. I agree. And he's also very worried about his family, and with good reason. I'll tell you another thing that's got energy because my guides won't let me forget it. That's how you know it has energy. I don't know if you guys heard this, but I don't know if this was 2 years ago. I don't know because time is whatever. Obama's chef at their house in Hawaii was found dead in the pool, his chef, despite the fact that this man was an excellent swimmer and the pool was not deep, but it was ruled a drowning. I'm telling you, it had energy. I'm telling you, that was no drowning. I'm telling you right now, that was no drowning. That was a message. And that was, you can Google it, it's news. But yes, he is, and he's got every reason to be worried about his family. But this is what happens. This is why Marshawn didn't put him in prison. He could have sentenced him to prison. But remember how he was going after the guy's daughter? This is the mob. This is why last time I talked to you guys, I was like, whoa, what was just over my head? Um, Maybe I need to calm down. Maybe I need to shut up. Okay. Anyway, the mob would silence victims. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, and he's black and his family's black. I mean, he doesn't need to be the one standing up, I don't think. Um Plus again, he's a constitutional scholar. He's not it's just he's not he's not Newsom, and I'm not saying I'm a big Newsom fan, but Newsom has the wherewithal to give the jabs and to, be spunky and fight. Everybody has their thing. Yeah, McConnell's wife's family is worth millions, right? So, but I'm telling you, those dots are starting to connect. You're going to find that it's going to be talked about that they have. I think it's absolutely sickening, you guys, because it's like the guides are using these words, the Atlantic slave trade. It's like that. They put bodies allegedly in these containers and shipped them. It's like we haven't grown up. We haven't learned anything. It's so disgusting. It's just really disgusting. Anyway, yeah, right. Obama will be the advisor to the reconstruction of the Constitution. He might be on the Supreme Court. That's his role. In my opinion, that's where he's just got this fine legal scholarly mind, and that's where he needs to apply his abilities. Yeah, I think Andrew's in shock too. I bet all those untouchables are in shock because the guides just keep saying they don't know who's next. They don't know who's the target or who's ratting them out. They for once they're not untouchable and somebody's hunting them and they don't know who it is. That's the sense of it. That's the energy of it, which I quite like, frankly. Fergie is a trollop. Well, she might be a trollop. She might be a loose cannon. Does she deserve to be deleted? I don't know, because that could be something that she's hiding in the UAE. You cannot hide in the UAE. This is the territory of the bone saws. Literally, she just went to the dungeon. What was she think? This is what I'm saying. People believe they're untouchable, or they believe that their enemies are their friends. The UAE is not her friend. That's the last place that she should have gone. She needs a better psychic. She's nasty. Okay, well, you know what? I I'm not going to dispute all that. I'm just saying they may decide that she needs to be avant-garde. I don't know. Um Yeah, this is a really good point too, actually. So we talked about last Friday night. We talked about the Huffines. We talked about the fact that this Texan, he's a Texan and he's got control of the ranch in New Mexico, and he's running for office in Texas to be like the comptroller or the, head financial person in the government. And now he announces, this is so interesting, right? Oh, the guides. Okay. Now he announces that he's going to build on the ranch this big Christian center. He's going to build a great big huge center. Now, what does that do? Well, it makes it harder to dig up things because now you pour concrete. Now you've got a basement. Now you've covered up the crime scene. And you know what the guides just showed me? I really need to stop saying all this, but if they show it to me, I'm going to say it. After Charlie K demise, they did that crime scene was not preserved, and they poured concrete. They literally poured concrete right there. Why did they pour concrete right there? Why? Like, that's the most bizarre thing, right? Also, the Butler PA thing, that roof, that wasn't a crime scene that was preserved, right? So this thing in the ranch, they're going to build a big Christian center there because that way nobody will dig it up. No, it's I promise you, wherever they put that sucker is exactly where we should be digging. Well, your question is, why was the state of Georgia ground zero? The guides are saying it wasn't ground zero. I mean, really, the island might have been ground zero, right? There were multiple ground zeros. Now, why was it ground zero in the United States? Because it was isolated, the guides are saying, very isolated. Um, you I mean, desert, high desert isolation. There's close enough to a city, but far enough away. Also, I feel like this is what the guides talked about last Friday too. There are caverns or some kind of limestone or some kind of thing that's under the surface of the sand that makes it hard to penetrate. So you can dig under it and put things under there. So the topography of that land was important because it had what they wanted. Tunnels could be made. You could fly in and out of there. Nobody's going to notice you flying in and out of there because it's isolated. You have good visibility, the guides are saying. So it was flat. You could see for miles and miles around. Nobody's going to be sneaking up on you. It was easy to defend. It was easy to monitor. Um, and it's in the middle of the country, so it's easy to fly from the West Coast, the East Coast. It's centrally located. So these are the things they were looking for. Now, the other thing is, unfortunately, allegedly, Governor Richardson was way up in this business. He was a big fan of his. They were literally like, you know, they were together. They were embedded in this together. So you have the governor who's in your pocket. You've got all these topographical things that make sense to you. You've got the location of middle of the country. You've got isolation. These are the reasons why. All those things added up to be the best possible thing. Can you imagine making a Christian camp for children on that ground? This is how diabolical these people are. And the guides just showed me again. I'm just what am I doing? Free associating. The guides are dropping in. They also talked about the Catholic Church, and we're finding out more of these birthing centers with these graveyards full of allegedly, potentially children. So it's a Christian center. Maybe that's why they brought up the Catholic Church, right? They're like, well, the Christians, haven't done a great job of being very Christian. So maybe that's why they brought that up. Yeah, I know that I know that New Mexico is making moves to investigate it, but it's private property, and will they be faster or will fines be faster? Because I'm telling you, they poured that concrete over CK's place where he was unalived, it within like 48 hours, maybe within 24 hours. How do you even get a permit? This was at a university. How do you even get a permit in 24, 48 hours to pour concrete? So my point is that Huffines could just build this thing and faster than the government can. So you would have to get, the guides are saying you have to get a cease and desist. You'd have to find some way to say, we're blocking you from making any permits or doing anything with this property. And then you have to put teeth in it, because even though you're a state and you say, don't do it, do they listen? No, because they're not going to listen. These people have money. They have more money than God, right? But I appreciate New Mexico trying to do what they can do. Yes. I mean, you know what else the guides just brought up? And I don't even like talking about this, but that Skinwalker Ranch, do you guys know about that? I'm not going to talk about it because this stuff, I'm telling y'all, it's a documentary. Y'all think it's fake. Y'all might think it's funny. Y'all might think it's real, but I think it's a documentary and I don't need to see that documentary. But Skinwalker Ranch, that's what they got. When I read your question, can you imagine how many angry spirits they told me Skinwalker Ranch? Just saying. So yeah, angry spirits, zombies, God only knows what else is in there. Seriously. In Utah, is that where that is? Yeah. Um, I need to be careful about answering this question. Your question is DISNEY involved. Um, you could probably take my careful reply as your answer. How about that? How about that? I'll just leave it at that. That way I don't have to say it. Skinwalkers are real. Look, I believe you. I wouldn't, you could not drag me to that ranch. People are like, "Oh, let's go." I'm like, "No, thank you." Again, documentary. No, thank you. Um, so they likened this land at Z Ranch to Skinwalker. So you see the way the guides connected those dots, right? Woo, we're up to 4,900. Rock on. All right. Thanks, everybody. If you're here, please subscribe. I'm going to be shutting this puppy down in a few minutes. We're almost up to 2 hours. You're one of my viewers is like, I'm getting tired. I'm like, me too. I'm getting tired. That's hilarious. I think JE is the serial killer of the world, the whole world. Ivana punched me because I mixed up their names. Listen back, it was Ivana versus okay. I'm on pretty good terms with Ivana. I mean, I didn't know her in real life. I'm not saying I would like her, but I'm just saying when she shows up to me, she's no nonsense. She's like somebody that I could have a conversation with. She's very no nonsense, like just real, very real. So I don't know. Maybe that's what happened. We don't have any. Yeah, so the aliens, that's the thing. They're using the aliens to get us distracted. And I was saying earlier, um, you know what? If the aliens landed, we would be like, we don't have time for this right now. This is not a good time for us. We're having a severe democracy demise happening right now, and we just can't deal with this. So you're just gonna have to come back later. You know what I mean? Like, just that's where we are. Like, we don't have time for aliens right now. Unless they're coming to get him, in which case we would throw a party. Yeah, they are. Tamara Camp. The big mouse is involved. Yes, the mouse is in the house. Ugh. God, see, certain things are giving me the willies. I don't know if it's my guides warning me to shut up or what. Um, let's see. Let's just try to. I'm eating chocolate at 10:51 p.m. I've done that. I mean, come on, it's not the worst thing you could eat at 10:51 p.m. Okay. SJ says Howard Lutnick tariff debt scheme. Will he be outed? I don't know, but they don't like the fact that I read that name out loud, so I'm kind of I can't take it back right now, but that was something I shouldn't have done. Um, you guys, there's just dark energy around that name and around that person. Really, really dark. Bad. Will he be outed? Yes, but the guides are kind of saying like that's the least of the thing that that guy could be outed for. There's really nasty things that guy could be outed for. Um, yeah, I agree with this, JC. Um, the guides told you guys eugenics a while back. They've talked about this stuff. So Libby with Meister Tarot, I think that's who you're talking about, did a reading, said these insane madmen kept the infants to harvest their cells for regeneration experiments. I 100% believe that. That is what my guide said. Eugenics, testing on humans, harvesting things like labs. Like last time I was on with you guys, we talked about, I think it's Operation Paperclip, but it's where the NAZI scientist, we brought them to the United States to capture their their brilliance, their intellect. We wanted that intellect to come here, but those people did those kinds of things. Think about the Tuskegee Airmen. Think about the things we've done to Native women. I talked about this last Friday night. We've been doing these things, right? But now maybe it's on an order of magnitude worse. And all this is going to come out. This is all going to come out. I don't know if it's true. Somebody that I do trust, because I haven't been on social media today, but said that Andy is going to be exposed for doing some pretty heinous things, like allegedly maybe electrocuting people. Um, this is this. Oh, I know there's Libby. Libby's here. I was just talking about you. I thought I'd caught the end 20 minutes ago. It's bad. It's bad. I have an addiction. Um, Anyway, yes, this true. All true. Um, I need a shot of alcohol, not chocolate exactly. Skinwalker, I think, is in Utah. Somebody put it in the thing. I block it regularly, so I wouldn't even. Lightfoot said they read a book about that ranch. I wouldn't even do. I can't even read a book about it. I don't even want to talk about it, to be honest with you. Yeah, it's in Utah. Thank you. Yeah, so this was a long one. Sorry guys that it went so long. When I'm channeling, they're powering me up, so I don't really until I'm over it and then I crash and burn, but when I'm doing it, I can do this for quite a while. Um yeah, see, this is what I'm saying, right? The NZISs, as you called them, base their medical practice on America's eugenics science. Exactly. Um yeah, start at the beginning. You may have to break this into chunks. um Great. I'm glad you like it, James. Thank you so much. Yeah. Um, I'm avoiding LUTNIK. Yeah. I shouldn't have said that name out loud, apparently. There was some little bit of dark energy, a lot of dark energy there. And that's pretty dark considering the people we've been talking about tonight, right? That's the one they were like, that's super dark. So surprising, right? Cork, Ireland is here. Hope you're doing all right over there. You're pouring Baileys now. I love it. I don't know. This is not good, you guys. Y'all are eating chocolate and drinking alcohol. I don't know what's happening. Um, yeah. So I think I'm gonna. Okay. So LUTNIK was the CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald. Oh right. Oh God, that's right. Okay, right. Let me put it on the screen. Chris Cool says LUTNIK was the CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald on 9/11. He took his son to kindergarten that day instead of going to work. Everyone else in his company perished. Do with that information what you will. Um, oh, wow. Libby's here now, so she can say that. Uh, the Huffines is a major stakeholder in one of the regeneration companies. I believe that it's all connected. It's just all connected. Truly, it's all connected. That's why I'm going to leave you with this. We're going to have discernment. We're going to be able to figure out who's telling the truth and who's not, and who's bamboozling us and who's not. We're going to take lots of breaks. We're going to drink water. We're going to take care of ourselves, because this is a lot to go through, and we don't have to solve the problem, and we don't have to bring the justice, right? We're not in charge of that. We're in charge of making sure that we're okay, that we get through this in one piece, so that we can experience the better version of the United States that we're going to have after this, right? So we really have to be careful about taking care of ourselves. And I'm going to leave you with this. The spirit guides have been saying we are courageous. We are courageous because we are looking at this. We are staring it in the face. If we had done a different timeline where Kamala had become president, all of this would still be happening. All of this horribleness would still be operating in the shadows. But now it's not, because we have been courageous and we are now looking at it and stopping it from continue to operate. So the guides are like, you are courageous to be here at this time and to see the truth and to stand up for the victims. And I'm not saying that, Kamala was going to keep it. I'm not saying anything about her. I'm just saying that we wouldn't have known. If we hadn't had the monsters running loose in the daylight like we do now, we would not know. But now we know. And now we're getting justice for the victims. And now we're stopping this. So this is very important work we're doing right now. This is, in our soul's journey through all of our incarnations. This incarnation is going to be very, very important in the scheme of all of our incarnations. This one is the one that was most important, because even if we're not doing anything, you're like, well, I'm not doing anything. You're witnessing. The eyes of the humans, our souls are witnessing. We're looking at it. We're not letting them get away with it. We're looking at them. We're holding them accountable, even with just our own justice, our own, just judgment of them. That's important. We are judging them energetically in our human way. Even if maybe the court of law isn't judging them, we are judging them. We are holding them accountable on a different vibration. And that is very, very, very important, right? Now, it doesn't mean you have to watch all the things or do the things or listen to you don't have to do any of that. You don't have to do any. You can never watch the news ever again, and you will have done everything you were supposed to do. Did you hear me? You can never watch the news ever again, and you will have done the thing you came here to do. You've already done it. You incarnated. You've been courageous enough to look at it. And now take care of yourself. Take care of your community, because we are the mass unit. We are the people. We're the light workers. We're going to be taking care of everybody after this is over. So we have to take care of ourselves so that we can do that, so we can be available for that. Okay. All right, everybody. Much love. Check out my website, SusanLynnMedium.com, for my online community, which is free. 5,000 people hanging out there for free every day, all day. Also, I'm there with you and my other community. You can learn all about that at SusanLynnMedium.com. Who, you're still here, Little Blue Lotus? God bless you. Wow. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting me. And know that we're going to get through all this together. We're going to get through all this together. Seriously, you and me, all of us, we're going to get together. Take really good care of yourselves. I'll see you again online really soon. And we're going to get through it. We're going to get through it. All right. Much love, everybody. Bye.